Welcome back. Pigskin Paisanos, G-Man here. We're going to go into the Week 1 matchup for starts and sits between the Detroit Lions and the Arizona Cardinals. So let's get into it. For the Detroit Lions, look, this could be a great matchup. For the Detroit Lions, looks like that Arizona Cardinals defense is just not going to be good. They're going to be missing key players in their secondary. So Matthew Stafford, quarterback one this week. Absolutely. I know he was dealing with injury. I think it was like something in his back, lower back, that like was really hampering his performance. So if he's healthy, he could come back and give you those high production numbers that he's used to giving you. Kerryon Johnson, put him in as your RB2. He was one of my absolute favorite running back rookies last year to scout. Came out of Auburn University, was the all-offensive player for the SEC conference. Great talent. And he showed it to you, too, once they finally gave him the workload and stopped trying to have LeGarrette Blount be a thing and let Kerryon Johnson get more of the work. He showed you in those weeks before he suffered his injury that he just looked great. And the injury wasn't anything too serious. It wasn't like he needed surgery or anything. Not that I believe he did. And they just wanted to be safe with him and just let him sit out. The team was a lost cause. But the unfortunate part that I'm going to get into later is how I think the offense is going to use Kerryon Johnson. But let me skip that for now. I'm going to go with Kenny Golladay. This is a guy that a lot of people are priming to have a breakout year. He showed you a definite jump in production last year. And with this matchup, yeah, he's probably going to have a good stat line. So, yeah, put him in as your wide receiver too. I'm also going to go with Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones, on a game-per-game basis, was actually doing pretty freaking good. Might have done just as well as Kenny Golladay, if I remember. I know Marvin Jones sustained injury and had to, leave the season early, but if he's back to health now, especially with this matchup, yeah, put Marvin Jones Jr., if you have him in, as your wide receiver 3 or your flex. I think he'll have a really good game here. Also, I'm going to say their defense and special teams. I like the Arizona offense a little bit more than I do last year, but I just think this is a matchup where the Lions, they have a pretty solid defense, could actually, get some value for you there if you do have them. And I'm going to go with a sneaky start. It's going to be C.J. Anderson. And I don't like to say that because I just talked before about how much I liked Kerryon Johnson, but it just seems like Matt Patricia, as you saw in the beginning of last year, how they kept trying to feed LeGarrette Blount. And you see it in this offseason, how Kerryon Johnson coming out on third down sometimes, even though he has a 3-down skill set, they're bringing in C.J. Anderson, they're bringing in Ty Johnson, and it's just like, what is going on? So it's possible, because I think this could be a lopsided game in the favor of the Lions, or either way, it could just be a little bit of a more high-scoring game. C.J. Anderson could provide you some value. Throw him in as your running back 3 or flex, like you saw last year. He showed you some value on that Rams team. Again, I'm not saying C.J. Anderson's going to end up being like the even back with Kerryon, but I just think until this team shows me otherwise, I'm going to have to temper my expectations a little bit with Kerryon and realize that C.J. could still be a factor. And I think in this matchup, he definitely will be. For sits, I'm going to go with T.J. Hawkinson. That's just a wait-and-see approach. I think everybody knows, for the most part, rookie tight ends, it's just like very rarely do they actually show you immediate value right away. And again, we're not talking season long, we're talking matchup, but I'm just going to go ahead and play it safe and say sit T.J. Hawkinson and just kind of wait and see how the Lions offense even plans to use him. We're going to move on to the Arizona Cardinals starts. Yeah, go ahead. Give Kyler Murray, the rookie at Oklahoma, the start, Heisman Trophy winner. Put him in as your quarterback 1 even. I mean, this could be, again, like I said, even though I said to start the Lions defense, Kyler Murray, because of his ability to scramble and his running ability, he's just sick. And you heard, how they were kind of hiding the offense in preseason. And I know people were like, oh, man, what's going on? This offense in preseason doesn't really look that good or efficient. But you've heard from multiple people now that they were just kind of hiding it. They want to kind of show the truer version of their offense come of the regular season now. They're excited to do it. Am I going to be as excited as they are about it? No, not really, because I think they didn't really address. They took late round picks on some offensive linemen, and I just think that's still going to be a really I know that the air raid offense that Cliff Kingsbury wants to utilize spreads out the field more, and supposedly can kind of trick or hide how the offensive line is, but I'm not going to be as high as maybe some people are. But again, I still think Kyler Murray deserves to be a start for you this week. And I'm also going to say David Johnson as well. The guy's just ridiculous. I can remember back when he was a rookie, forcing a friend of mine to draft him rounds before people didn't even know who he was, because he came out of northern Iowa. You weren't even thinking about him, and he was just the talent was so obvious. He looked freakishly good. I know last year, a little bit of a down year, but he still finished, I think, as like an RB 10, I want to say, for like PPR half point formats. And I just think that last year for Arizona was probably as bad as it could have possibly went. So even if you aren't as skeptical as I am about the Cardinals, and you think either way, I do think there will be improvement. So yeah, David Johnson gets a start this week. Christian Kirk as well. I'm going to say put him in as a wide receiver too. He showed some pretty good promise last year. I think there's a lot of interesting wide receiver talents for this team, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But I think for this week, go ahead and start Christian Kirk, wide receiver too. I'm also going to say Larry Fitzgerald, the old man Fitz. He just I think he still has value. I think he, especially with this style of offense, he could be definitely getting a lot of targets, and put him in as wide receiver 3 or flex. I know he had a bit of an off year last year, but he could be a slight bounce back candidate this year. And I think for this matchup, yeah, go ahead. For the sits, I'm going to say Ricky Seals-Jones. And I know some people who really study fantasy are going to say, oh, Garrett, didn't you know that Cliff Kingsbury scouted and brought on Ricky Seals-Jones? And it's like, okay, what does that mean? Like, Ricky Seals-Jones had so much hype going into last season and didn't provide. So again, it's wait and see. I mean, unless you want to get cute and you think that he's gonna be a targeted piece of this offense, I'm just gonna say sit. I'm also gonna say sit Michael Crabtree, Keyshawn Johnson, and Andy Isabella. Crabtree I've always liked. I'm surprised that the Giants or a different team didn't go ahead and grab him, teams that really needed him, because it seemed like, even though, yeah, there's the injury to a rookie Hakeem Butler that forced him on IR, I just thought that, when the Cardinals acquired him, I was honestly surprised. Keyshawn Johnson, probably one of my absolute favorite favorite wide receiver talents. Came out of Fresno State. The guy's awesome, and he's eventually probably going to get in work. But for this week, I'm just going to take a wait and see. I'm not going to go too crazy on taking flyers on upside guys. I think Kirk and Fitzgerald could provide you with safer value, and the same with Andy Isabella. The guy's awesome, and it's really cool to see that they did draft some really talented wide receivers. You had Hakeem Butler and Andy Isabella, where they're really good down the field. Surprisingly, people would look at Andy Isabella and think, oh, he's going to be a Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman type. But really, he's actually more of a down the field kind of target and threat. But again, just to be safe, I'm going to say give them sits for this week. And all right, that's going to wrap up today's video for the Detroit Lions and Arizona Cardinals. Catch you on the next one.